The number of coronavirus cases across our state continues to increase. In Tacoma Pierce County, the health department says there are 12 new positive tests there, which brings the total to 138, including one death. Right now, we are waiting for an overall update from the state health department, and we'll of course bring that to you once it's released. At last check, there are 110 deaths in our state out of 2,221 cases, and it is because of numbers like that we here at King 5 are taking the governor's stay home order very seriously. And I want to welcome you now to King 5 News at 4. I'm Jessica Janner Castro. I am in the studio by myself. Hi, Mark.
And I'm Mark Wright. Jessica, it's good to see you, and broadcasting from my home in Mukilteo for the first time and for the foreseeable future. It's good to see everybody here for King 5 News at 4 o'clock. So tonight around the world, about 2 billion people are now covered by that stay-at-home order. Earlier today, a surprising announcement from President Trump. He wants the country to get back to regular business by Easter. That's April 12th, and now less than 3 weeks away.
We have to go back to work much sooner than people thought. And people can go back to work, and they can also practice good judgment.
So public health experts say not so fast. They're warning that easing restrictions too soon could put a huge strain on hospitals. And that's why our state tonight has a new coronavirus czar. Governor Jay Inslee has chosen a retired Navy vice admiral to lead the charge against COVID-19 in our state.
And part of the job is addressing that healthcare system strain. Natalie Swaby reports for us.
The governor actually announced this appointment on Sunday, saying that this person has an impressive medical background and a long distinguished military career.
He appointed retired Navy Vice Admiral Raquel Bono. She's currently a senior fellow with the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory. In the past, she led a joint integrated support agency that enabled all branches of the U.S. military medical services to provide health care to those engaged in combat. She is also the first woman surgeon in the military to hold the rank of Vice Admiral. Now, as the number of coronavirus cases has been climbing in our state, there is concern about having enough resources. During a phone conference this afternoon, Bono said her priorities include looking at the possibility of more makeshift hospitals and getting the necessary equipment.
We are looking currently at the number of actual ventilators that we have here, as well as the number of beds and ICU beds and regular hospital beds. I'm still in the process of getting that exact number.
She wants to develop a model of care for all Washingtonians and ensure there are standard protocols. To make that happen, she plans to work closely with healthcare facilities, long-term care facilities, and the federal government to make sure we're addressing our greatest needs. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
Now to some developing news, and we have just received a new report that says the Kirkland Nursing Home at the center of Washington's coronavirus outbreak put their residents in imminent danger. That's according to federal investigators with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The report says during an inspection at the Life Care Nursing Home, residents were found in, quote, immediate jeopardy. 3 different areas are specifically under scrutiny in the report. It says that the center's failure to find and manage sick residents was a problem. Also says the failure to notify the state about the increasing rate of respiratory infection among residents. And finally, the failure to have a backup plan following the center's primary physician getting sick. We are also getting a better understanding of what the governor's stay-at-home order is going to look like. You can leave your house if you need things like groceries or you have to go to the doctor, but you are not supposed to go to work unless your job is considered essential. As King 5's Drew Mickelson shows us, that's a somewhat long list.
About 50 kids have been coming to the Boys and Girls Clubs in Thurston County since the schools closed last week. They will stay open during the stay home, stay healthy order, which is great news to parents who have to keep going to work.
Well, it's been such a huge relief, so not having to worry about it, and they're providing breakfast and lunch for the kids and snacks, so that's another relief that I don't have to worry about.
Cara Glorioso is a medical assistant in an Olympia doctor's office, so she can't stay home with her 7-year-old Jacob. That's why daycares are exempt from the governor's order. Healthcare employers, food services, and transportation and utilities too. It's a long list. But retailers like art supply stores and dress shops who have struggled to last this long fear tomorrow could be their last day. They'll look to online business until they can reopen.
Enough to keep the lights on. I mean, we're operating at rock bottom now, so we can just, hold on until we get through this. I think everything will be okay on the other side.
The CEO for the Boys and Girls Club here in Thurston County says they will keep their doors open as long as they can. In Tumwater, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
So what are essential businesses as defined by the governor? We have the 14-page document that he put out. In fact, they include a lot of jobs that you would probably expect, like emergency responders, law enforcement, those in the healthcare field, manufacturing, food and agriculture, as well as finance sectors. But there are some things that are a little bit unexpected, like childcare, pot shops, brewery and winemaking, toilet paper manufacturers, plumbers, electricians, and exterminators. If you would like to see the full list, all you have to do is text the word LIST to 206-448-4545.
So today we're getting a much better idea of how the governor and police plan to enforce that stay-at-home order. The Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs right now say that enforcement simply means engagement and education. So law enforcement have not been asked to arrest or ticket anyone at this point. When officers do encounter people not following the rules, they will be reminded that everyone should stay at home unless running essential errands like going to the grocery store or going to the doctor.
The governor's stay-at-home order is going to mean new restrictions at some Washington parks as well. Kristen Ayers fills us in on those changes that everyone needs to know.
In parks here in Burien, it's really obvious what is no longer allowed. Signs are posted and play structures that are closed are covered in caution tape. But in Tacoma, closures of courts and playgrounds will be on an honor system. Metro Parks Tacoma announced today that the parks will remain open, but playgrounds and sport courts will be closed to the public, and so will parking lots and restrooms. The goal, to strike a balance between keeping the parks open for walking or bike riding and making sure people are not holding gatherings or failing to use social distancing. Signs will be posted around Tacoma's roughly 70 parks, but officials say at the end of the day, it's going to be on the public to play by the rules.
It's a nuanced message that it's okay to come, but we're trying to limit those groups. So really what we're relying on is the honor system. We're asking people to do the right thing.
Metro Parks officials say there was a massive spike in park visitors over the weekend. They say now, between the governor's announcement, the new park rules, and the changing weather, they hope to see less traffic and more social distancing in the coming weeks. Kristen Ayers, King 5 News.
Time now for the top 5 on King 5. A look at 5 of our top headlines on this Tuesday. First up, Japan is postponing the Olympics. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says the 2020 games, which were supposed to take place this summer in Japan, will be held no later than next summer. They will still be called the Tokyo 2020 Games. The World Health Organization says the pandemic is accelerating and tonight stands at about 400,000 cases worldwide. A WHO official says the U.S. could possibly be the new emerging epicenter for the disease after Asia and Europe. There are now more than 49,000 cases in the U.S. across all 50 states, and 600 Americans have so far died from the coronavirus. 400 much-needed ventilators arrived in New York City today. New York's governor says the state obtained 7,000 ventilators and needs at least 30,000 more in the next 14 days. New York's infection attack rate is 5 times higher than the rest of the U.S. Boy, a huge rebound for Wall Street today as Congress gets closer to a stimulus deal. The Dow soared more than 2,000 points today. That's up more than 11% in value. The S&P 500 had its best day since October of 2008. A new CDC report shows the coronavirus stayed on surfaces aboard the Diamond Princess cruise ship for 17 days. After the rooms were vacated, but before they were all disinfected. So that's how long the virus can stay on hard surfaces. The ship was under quarantine off the coast of Japan last month. Of the 712 passengers who tested positive, nearly half showed no symptoms at all.
Back here at home, the coronavirus is creating a perfect storm of sorts for food banks trying to feed more and more hungry people. As Eric Wilkinson reports, some places like in Sedro-Woolley, they're rethinking the way they serve the community so that they themselves can survive.
Almost all of the volunteers here at the Helping Hands Food Bank are over the age of 60 years old, so it isn't safe for them to come to work. Social distancing makes it nearly impossible for them to serve the 900 people who use this food bank every week, so they've had to take some drastic measures. The food bank building is now simply a warehouse, and they've moved their weekly distribution to this nearby grocery store where people can get boxes of food without ever leaving their cars. But this and other food banks are facing even bigger problems right now. With people stocking up on food, there's far less for grocery stores to donate. Increasingly, Helping Hands has to buy food at normal retail prices, so instead of paying just a few cents for a can of soup, it's closer to $1. Executive Director Becky Larson says the impact of coronavirus is going to be felt for quite a while.
Their credit cards are maxed out, and they'll be coming here for a long time to get back up. This is food banks. It's not going to be a 6-week thing and done. It's going to be for the rest of the year.
Close to 50,000 people in Skagit County alone hover near the poverty line, and that was before all these job losses and school closures that have put even more stresses on families up here. In Sedro-Woolley, Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
And before we move on, we want to just acknowledge that, yes, we are anchoring from 2 different places right now, as you can obviously see on our screen. It's a new policy here at King 5 for a while as we practice social distancing as best we can. In fact, I am in an empty studio right now with only my coffee, which is probably for the best because I tend to spill it a lot, as Mark knows. We have only a few essential crew members here. Most of our producers, writers, they're working from home right now. And our meteorologists, as you've probably seen, have been broadcasting for a few days now from home. It's pretty wild. We also want to say, Mark, thank you to all of our engineers who have made this whole thing possible, as wild as it seems. And Mark, I want to ask you how it's going on your end.
Everything is going well, but I'm glad that you pointed out that our engineers and our technical crew, those folks are unbelievable. They're literally like MacGyver. Yeah. We've got stuff set up in all of our homes, and we're broadcasting from our homes. And if you think about it, that's no small feat. So a big shout out to them. This is my son who moved out after graduating from college. This is his bedroom. It's now my drumming studio, just off camera. My drum set is here. My son, who's home from school now, put a King 5 sign on the door to the room here, and I've got some video of just there's the old on-air sign from one of the old audio rooms at the old building on Dexter there. So we've got a full-on studio here, and we're going to be broadcasting from here. At least I will be for the foreseeable future. So it's good to be finally back on the air, Jessica.
It looks good, and the drums are not too far away, Mark.
Not too far, not too far. Maybe at some point during this whole thing we may stray into a little drumming, but for now we'll just deliver the news, and just wanted to thank everybody at home for trusting King 5. Thanks for being with us. And back to you, Jess.
Absolutely. Well said, Mark. I miss you here, but it's for the best, and we're all in this together.